Okie dokie. I just came back from work and today I was thinking, by the way, I'm looking over here because the selfie camera in it. The more I think about it, the more I realize that the movie didn't make any sense. I might be wrong. Anyone who's watched the movie more than once and have analyzed it, feel free to tell me how wrong I am. But here's what I'm thinking. So in the original story, Dr. Gerald Robotnik made Shadow, right? And whilst there's no official explanation as to how he got to Shadow's design being so close to Sonic, there are explanations that make sense. Like you could say that quick pause. So one thing that I want to make clear first is that in Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, they kind of make it out as if Sonic and friends are always natives of our world, if you get what I mean. They create a world where Sonic and all these beings are part of the human world, and Sonic, they're all part of the same world, basically, which you can argue makes sense or doesn't make sense or whatever. But for example, in Sonic X, they create the idea of Sonic coming from a different universe entirely, which is where they go with these movies, where Sonic and characters come from a whole different universe, which I think does make more sense. I think the idea of Sonic and all these characters coming from a different universe as opposed to being natives of our world does make more sense. But in terms of where Sonic comes from and where things are taking place, there's always been a bit up and down in the games. For example, in Sonic Frontiers, I do wonder, are they in their world or are they in our world or what's happening? You know, so that has never fully been set in stone to a satisfactory degree, if you get what I mean. Universes keep on changing and molding, which is part of the whole benefits, but also its negatives when it comes to having a consistent story. But for this, I'm going with the idea that Sonic and friends come from a whole different universe. So in the original story, Dr. Gerald Robotnik made Shadow. And whilst there's no official explanation as to how he got to Shadow's design being so close to Sonic, there are explanations that make sense. Like you could say that Dr. Gerald Robotnik found out about Sonic's world and those beings and modeled Shadow after Sonic, or maybe even an ancestor or something like that. It's not beyond a scientist as much of a genius as Gerald Robotnik to find out about Sonic's world, especially seeing that he was aware of chaos energy and blah 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 and filled Shadow with it. Like, it makes sense for him to be aware or find out about Sonic's world. Do you get what I mean? So whilst there's no official reason as to how he got to Shadow's design being so close to Sonic, there's reasons that make sense. But if you have Shadow come down from a meteorite, number one, the question is, he came down from a meteorite, that means he came down from space inside our universe, our world. He didn't come down from space in Sonic's world. He came down from space in our world. That means he's in our universe, not in Sonic's universe. Which begs the question, where did he come down from? He must have come down from a planet, right? He came down via meteorite. So like in A Quiet Place and their aliens, something must have happened to his home world that destroyed it, and he came down via meteorite. Which begs the question, in his home world, home planet, do other beings look like him? And if so, why do other beings from his planet in our universe look so much like the beings from Sonic's world? Do you get what I mean? Because Shadow in the movie doesn't know who he is or where he came from, which is fine for the character, but there has to be a valid or understandable explanation as to who he is and where he came from. It can't just be that there's nothing. Because if you're going to change it from Dr. Gerald Robotnik making him to be a hope for humanity and to save Maria, if you're going to remove that reason and have him come down from space, then you have to create a whole new reason. Even though in the old game there's no solid reason as to why he looks so much like Sonic, there are reasons that make sense. But if he comes down from space, it leaves a whole bunch of questions. Like, number one, why does he have amnesia? Amnesia means that he must have hit his head really hard. Did that happen when his world blew up? Why was he even there? Why do people in that planet look so much like people from Sonic's world? Did some people, come into our world but land in a different planet and there's something happen to that planet? And as for Shadow, in the movies, he had no idea what a Chaos Emerald was, but was able to teleport. From my understanding, that teleportation ability is Chaos Control, and he's full of Chaos energy in the movie, but he has no idea what a Chaos Emerald is. He has no idea what a Chaos Emerald is, but is able to use Chaos Control because he's so filled world of chaos energy, but chaos emeralds, from my understanding, comes from Sonic's world. So how is he full of chaos energy, but he came down from space in our world where the chaos emeralds don't come from? Am I missing something or misunderstanding something? But from what I'm looking at, it doesn't make sense, because yeah, there's a whole bunch of plot holes in the original story, but they can be filled quite easily if you want to. But with the brand new backstory to Shadow, it becomes even more nonsensical from where I'm standing. I might be wrong, I might be looking at it wrong, but having him come from a whole different planet in our world, but have the people from that planet just so happen to look a lot like people from Sonic's world, it opens up a whole load of questions. Because in Shadow the Hedgehog, when he has amnesia, it makes sense. He got amnesia from plummeting down from space to Earth. In this movie, he seemed to come down quite gently in a meteorite that protected him quite well, but for some reason he has amnesia, so that means something happened before he got into that meteorite. Okay, what happened? And why the fuck does he look so much like Sonic? Just a few questions. I was thinking about it, and it has made me wonder, because I already don't like the changes they made, because it changes character motivations, but the more you think about it, the more that it becomes a bit nonsensical. And it tends to happen when you change the source material. More often than not, you leave a whole bunch of unanswered questions and you back yourself into a corner, writing wise, where it becomes harder to explain things because you're changing so much. Do you get what I mean? But if I'm wrong in any aspect, feel free to shout at me in the comment section. But genuinely, the more I think about it, the more it don't make sense. Do you get what I mean? Anyways, that's it. That's what I wanted to share today. Take care. Bye.